Hello, I'm JW. This time we have another old device, and it comes in its original box here. And as you can see from the front here, it's actually a plug-in thermostat. And the idea being you can plug in this into the wall, and then if you have inexplicably got a heater with no thermostat of its own, you can then control the temperature using this device. So let's have a closer look. So this is it here, and it says Programmed Electricity Super Switch Thermac plug-in thermostat, and this is made by the same people as those Thermac timers that we've seen in previous videos, except they've called it a Thermac because of course it's a thermostat rather than a timer. And of course programmed electricity sounds very impressive, but of course it's not. It's just a normal rotary thermostat in a box. And you've got your 3-pin plug there, and look on the back here, we've got the socket in the wall. This device shoves in there, and then your heater fixes in the front. And of course this is only suitable for heaters that don't have their own built-in thermostat. I'm sure such things did exist, but certainly not particularly common. And all this guff on here, you've got your room temperature controlled to your liking. Heating appliances such as fan heaters and bar fires without their own thermostats can now be brought under control. No longer is it a case of 1 bar not enough and 2 bars is too much. So they're already telling you here that it's only for things without their own thermostat, so I'm not entirely sure how successful this product actually was. And you can just look at these advantages: no flex or wiring, just plug into a 13 amp wall socket, 3 kilowatt capacity, and they've even spelled that out in the word 3 rather than the actual number. A simple setting on one dial and saves you money. Well, it probably would save you money compared to having a heater just on all the time. So let's have a look inside the box. Just before we go there, just look at the end there. It's Super Switch Electric Appliances in Peterborough. Phone number Peterborough 60677. Now date-wise for this, I'm guessing 1970s. We've got postcode, so presumably after the date that they were introduced. But on the other hand, we've only got a 5-digit phone number for Peterborough, so that sort of puts it a bit further in the past. So anyway, it's all wrapped up in this cardboard. Now again, I don't know if this has actually been used or not, but nevertheless it looks to be in pretty much original condition. So that's the device. We have the little bits of paper come with it. This is the guarantee. So if it breaks, you can send it back to Camberley in Surrey. Not the Peterborough address on the box there. And there's the instructions, which pretty much we've already seen. It's basically plug it in and turn the knob as desired. So that's the bit there. And we've got this little card as well, which has the Peterborough address on it. So it seemed to be a bit of a conflict of where these people live. And of course you're supposed to fill this in and register your guarantee and all that. I wonder how many people actually return these things, because you were supposed to get the guarantee for the item, and pretty much everything came with these in the day. But how many people actually return these is something of a mystery. I don't think many people did, because so far all the stuff we've looked at has these still in the box untouched. So presumably not many people at all. So here's the device there. So 3 pins on the back, unsleeved, notice, because this is prior to the requirements of sleeving, which came in, I think, in the 1980s. A socket on the front there to plug in your heater with no thermostat, and then it's just a question of adjusting the dial there to the temperature you would want. Now this is clicking about here. Which seems reasonable because we're inside and it's reasonably warm, so we're sort of in the middle temperature there. Little, presumably a neon indicator inside. That Thermac is actually recessed into the plastic, so it's sort of been pressed in or debossed, as the proper word should be, and then filled in with black paint. And on the back here, basically we've just got Super Switch Thermac, 13 amps, 250 volts, and made in England. And there's an insert there for something else, which is blank on this particular one, but possibly for a serial number or some other writing they decided not to put in. So let's open this up, see what's inside. Now we've got some holes here, but they're actually filled over with various ancient sealing compounds, so just dig that out and see what's inside. Now I would guess that these two actually hold the thermostat in place, and the others are presumably for the actual covering. So we'll go in at this corner first and see what we can see inside here. And as is often the case, these are covered over this gunk, but it's all solidified and crumbles away fairly easily. And we just have a normal slot type screw in there. So we'll certainly be undoing that one. We'll also go for the other corner here. And again, that's compound just pries out easily. It was probably only put there to stop people opening it, as it may be the case that if some people opened it, they may not be able to get it back together, or it may become unsafe. Of course, the manufacturers didn't want that. They would prefer you return it to them, and of course if it busted under guarantee and they found the bits of coverings had been cut off, they would of course send it back, say we're not going to repair it, or basically give us some money and we might consider it. So as at the other corner, it's just a standard slotted screw there. Right, so that seems to have loosened that fairly well. Now I would imagine that this knob will pry off. Yes, it does, just a sort of D-shaped piece to secure it there with a metal spring tab. So that's the inside of it, single moulded piece there. There's a label with number 9 written on it in pen. And again, that's just a little plastic orange window, and just 2 cutouts for the thermostat and of course the socket there. So inside then we've got a thermostat here. This is probably a fairly standard item, and yes, it will be those 2 posts there that secure that in position. Yes, screwed in from the outside, which is quite a odd design. It's essentially screw goes through from the back here into the top and threads through that plate. So you would have thought they'd have done it the other way into a plastic post, but anyway, 3-pin socket there, and then a little neon indicator at the top. So there's a closer look at the insides, and basically just got over here a fairly probably generic sort of thermostat. That sort of off-the-shelf component. It's the usual bimetallic strip in there, so essentially as the strip changes in temperature it will bend one way or the other. And then also got this contact arrangement on the top here. So that's all pretty standard. You can see the short markings on the strip there at the bottom. And of course adjusting this here will just adjust the tension on that strip, so it'll just modify the position at which it clicks on and off. Yes, it's very narrow little contact gap, but as we turn the knob there you can see that it does move, and the moving contact is actually this one here. So not a very, very small gap on that. It's basically between there and there. But nevertheless, that's how it actually operates. It's just adjusting the tension on that sort of sprung arm there, and clicks over to make a contact when heat is needed. So the 2 terminals there, this one comes around and actually goes to the socket here, so that's your outlet, and then the other side goes, say, around the top here and comes down to there, and of course that's what goes through to the live pin on the other side. The other pin, that would be the neutral, that just comes straight through and obviously is bonded straight into the socket contact there at the bottom. So it's only switching in the live conductor there, and again the earth comes again straight through from the top there, so it's just riveted through the case, comes through and then down into the actual earth piece here. And then we've also got an extra wire here for the earth which goes across and actually attaches to the body of the thermostat. It's quite interesting they've actually bothered to do that, because bearing in mind this is all plastic, so there's no exposed metal on the outside, and even with the knob there, because it's all totally covered and concealed, and as I say, take the knob off, you can't really get at any parts of the thermostat contacts anyway. And of course with that over the top we've just got those 2 metal bits, but nevertheless good that they did actually bother to connect those to the earth connection. So does this thing actually still work? Well, of course, the only way to find out is to plug it in. Now, on the box there, you'll notice it showed it just going essentially into a single wall outlet there with the switch on the right. So of course that's no problem. But if you had, say, 2 sockets or whatever like this, if you plug it into one of them, it's going to totally cover the one to the left of the device. And if there was a switch anywhere for this one, obviously you wouldn't be able to actually plug it in. Now, this is just some adapter bar, so not a particular issue, but certainly could be a problem in your actual house situation. So anyway, we'll plug that in, and got the little neon there, and the knob here, the indicator is basically on the side here, so that's sort of a minimum, and then you can go around to maximum over there. So let's see what gives. So the little light comes on, and we can obviously turn that to the required temperature, and then theoretically the socket is live on the front. And notice, like that other device, that the neon is actually on 100% of the time, which again does seem rather bizarre. You would have thought it would be showing whether the device was actually outputting power or not, but you see that it just clicks on and off, yet the neon remains illuminated the whole time. So again, another rather odd design choice. Now just reassemble the device and just plug it again back into that block there. So switch on the power, and you can just about see the little neon indicator glowing away in there. So not desperately easy to see, is it? Fairly bright lighting. Now let's just see if the switch part works. It certainly appeared to. So this is just a battery charger, so hopefully whatever was to hand. So let's shove the battery in, and hopefully we should see this light come on if it's actually powered, and of course not when it's not. So cool, that's what you expect. So if we turn up the temperature, yep, there we go, the little LED is switched on there. So yeah, it still works, but then so there's not really much in it to go wrong. And unlike that other device we looked at the other day, which had that completely blackened neon, this one is totally clear, so it obviously hasn't been used a great deal, if at all. So that's the plug-in thermostat for use with electric heaters that don't have a thermostat built in. So the question is how many of those heaters existed, or in fact did any exist. So here we have a catalogue from 1978, and this is the Green Shield catalogue. And this was a deal where you collected up stamps which were green in colour and had a shield on the front when you bought things in various shops, and then you could take them along to the Green Shield shop, have a look at this catalogue and buy a whole variety of nasty things at supposedly discounted prices. Now Green Shield turned into Argos later on, a company which of course still exists today. Here's a page with some heating on it, and first of all have a look over this side, because here's the plug-in timer. It's not quite the same as the one I had a look at previously, but it's the same brand, and so there it is with the little neon indicator in the socket. It just has a timer on rather than a thermostat. Now the thermostat's not actually in this catalogue, but over on this page, see we've got various electric heaters, and a fair number of them do not appear to have any thermostat in. As you see, these particular ones here are indicated as having a thermostat control, but of course these two up here do not. And if we look a bit further down, again we've got one here, here, and again here, again which don't have any kind of thermostat, so those would in fact just be on or off based on the control on the front. So in that regard then this thing probably would have had at least some uses, although that particular one, say, doesn't really have had very much use at all. And if you wanted to buy this thermostatic one here, that would have cost £15.75, and number 14 there, which has no thermostat, was actually £15.95. So it doesn't seem to be a huge difference in the pricing. And again up here, this one here with a thermostat, that would have been £14.25, and the one here was £13.45. So there is some minor difference there, but certainly not particularly huge. And of course we don't know the price of the actual thermostat, but the mechanical timer over the other side, that thing there, was actually £9.45. So fairly expensive item, bearing in mind that this was of course 1978, and when £10 was worth considerably more than it is today. So that's a quick look at the thermostat. So not a great deal inside it, and so it's a fairly obsolete device now, because pretty much all heaters you buy these days would have a thermostat included. But until next time, thanks for watching.